Hey guys, Santa here with another deck profile and another one that is ready for rotation. People are getting ready for rotation. I am no different. People are asking, what is the best deck in the format? Probably this one, dude. It is straight up probably this one. I've been searching and scouring Japanese lists for quite a while. Been paying very close attention to city leagues. And yeah, been paying a whole lot of attention to the English meta as well, and this is the list that I have come up with. If you guys are excited for rotation, or if you enjoy the deck profile, drop a like, drop a sub. I'm going to be trying to I'll show you guys right here. I'm still working on Gouging Fire. I don't think that deck is going to be any good whatsoever post-rotation, but we're going to try it because I love the Pokemon. Moving on. Let's get this started. We got a Dragapult deck profile today. We're playing 3 copies of Dragapult EX. If you are unfamiliar with this card and why it is so crazy, it is because of Phantom Dive. For a fire and a psychic, you do 200 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, but you put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench in any way you like. Not the craziest thing in the world. It's very good. But post-rotation, after Journey Together comes out and rotation actually happens on April 11th, Manaphy will no longer be allowed in the format. So your bench is not safe. So we're playing 3 copies of Dragapult EX. Honestly, I have tried to play 4. I have found it to be really clunky. However, we do play 4 copies of Drakloak. Apologies, I couldn't find my hollow ones of this, but I found my Pokeball. Now the reason we play 4 of this is because of the Recon Directive. Once during your turn, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand, put the other one at the bottom of your deck. So, if Gardevoir last format taught us anything, is that cards and decks that have their own inherent draw engine are very good. So, playing 4 copies of the Dragapult, which of course should stand to reason that we are playing 4 copies of Dreepy as well. These ones I actually found my hollows, but I only have 1 Pokeball. This guy's okay. He's pretty okay. For a fire and a psychic, he has Bite, which can knock out a Budew. But I'm going to tell you guys a sneaky little secret. We play Budew ourselves. This is part of what makes this deck so oppressive. Dragapult Budew. We are also playing the Dusknoir engine because I've found that this is the most consistent and the most aggressive version of this deck. The reason you want to play 2 Budew, since we are playing a Stage 2 deck, Itchy Pollen tends to help us get our Dragapults actually live and onto the board. A lot of people only run 1. We are not running the Sparkling Crystal version of the build. We are running an Unfair Stamp version of the build. Again, I find it to be nice and consistent. Kind of just slow and steady wins the race, yada I mean. So we're playing 2 copies of Budew to be able to get things going. We're playing a pretty thick Duskull / Dusknoir engine. We are playing 3 copies of Duskull, 1 Dusclops, and we are playing 3 Dusknoir as well. We are playing Rare Candy in this deck, so it doesn't really matter that we only have the 1 Clops, because we can get into multiples. This is absolutely crazy. If you don't know what these cards do, Duskull doesn't do a whole lot. Come and Get You puts up to 3 Duskull from your discard into your bench, which is pretty cool. Cursed Blast does a different thing depending on which Pokemon it's on. If it's on Dusclops, you can knock this Pokemon out to put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty good when you use that in combination with Dragapult's Phantom Dive. You can stack an additional 110 damage onto one of your opponent's bench, which is pretty cool. But if it's Dusknoir using Cursed Blast, you get to put 13 damage counters instead. So, you potentially be using a Dusknoir and a Dragapult EX Phantom Dive in the same turn to be doing an absolutely insane 190 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and 200 to the active. Absolutely insane. For this deck, we're also playing 1 copy of Munkidori. I found this to be really consistent and really nice in a Dragapult meta. This is really nice for the mirror match. And honestly, at a super beefy 320, there's not a whole lot of things that can actually one-shot Dragapult except for this guy. I think is also going to be very good post-rotation. If you want to check out that deck profile, bam, over there. Alternatively, Goldengo can also knock out Dragapult. It does take a lot of work for both of those decks to do it. Bam, by the way, there's Goldengo. It does take a lot of work for either of those decks to be able to do it, but they can do it. Nothing else can one-tap Dragapult in the format, so the Munkidori is really good to be able to shift damage counters around. also playing one copy of Bloodmoon UrsaLuna EX. If you guys have been watching any of my deck profiles, you know that I actually really love this card. I try and include it whenever I can. I think in a deck like this specifically, it's really good. Because your opponent ends up taking one of your Dreepies pretty early on, which puts them at 5 prizes. You knock out one of their EXs ideally, take 2. They take 2, you take 2, they take 2. Then they are down to 1 prize card, which means you could just drop Bloodmoon UrsaLuna and smack 240 for absolutely free. Super crazy. So that is the Pokemon count. It's been doing rather well for me. No complaints so far, and I don't think I'm going to have any. Moving on to the items. Play 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin. You basically have to pay 4. I don't know why you would play anything less than 4. This is an absolutely insane card. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon 70 HP or less. Put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So this is going to be able to get you into your Dreepies most of the time. It can also get you straight to a Budew, but it can also get you your Duskulls. So you have a lot of targets in this deck, so you definitely want to play a lot of copies. As I mentioned earlier, we are playing Rare Candy. We are playing 2 copies. I really don't want to play any more than this. Again, you saw we're playing a 3-1-3 line of the Duskull Dusknoir engine. So 2 Rare Candies has been doing me rather well. So you can use one of your Duskulls to get you into a Dusclops, and then you can use the Rare Candies to get you into other ones, which is pretty nice. Play 1 copy of Nest Ball. Honestly, I haven't found a huge need for more. I thought about running 2, but frankly, space is just so tough in this deck. I think if you were going to play a second one, you could potentially drop either a copy of Artazon, which we do play, we'll show you that later, or maybe the Bloodmoon UrsaLuna, but I honestly really like the Nest Ball to be able to get you into the Bloodmoon UrsaLuna. So, playing 1 Earthen Vessel. A lot of your energy comes from Crispin, so you don't really need the Earthen Vessel, but it is really nice to have. I have considered bumping it up to 2, which I know sounds redundant because I just said you don't really need it, but the fact that you can search a Fire and a Psychic off of Earthen Vessel is pretty good. So off this 1 card, you can get the energy onto your Dragapult required to start smacking. Play 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Honestly, I might end up dropping one of these. This is nice because it can get you into your Dragapults. Post Journey Together, I'm actually going to be running a couple copies of Brock. I think that's going to be doing a whole lot of good for us. I'm not actually playing Lance. You can see over here, I do have 3 copies, but we are making a post-rotation deck profile, so I'm actually not using the Lances in this profile. 2 Ultra Ball, pretty good. Great cards. Search your stuff. Playing 1 copy of Switch. This guy's actually from base set 2. This is very old. But switching one of your bench Pokemon with one of your active is pretty good. The only thing in this deck that has free retreat is your Budew. Everything else requires at least 1 energy to retreat, so having a copy of Switch is pretty good. Pretty sure Drakloak, yeah. Okay, so we got 1 Switch. We're also playing 1 copy of Night Stretcher. I haven't really found a need for a second one of this either. I think 1 Night Stretcher is pretty strong. Again, space in this deck is really tight, so we're doing what we can. As I mentioned earlier, our ACE SPEC is Unfair Stamp. We are not playing the Sparkling Crystal version. I do understand that Crystal is a good card. I think Unfair Stamp is really crazy in this deck. Just being able to disrupt your opponent's hand after you have left a single prize board state is just really strong. Again, your opponent takes 1 prize card. Next turn, you shuffle their hand, give them 2 cards instead, give yourself 5. It really sets you up in a very nice way to be able to take 2 prize cards. Moving on to the supporters. We do play 4 Arven. Again, this is really nice to play with Sparkling Crystal. We are not playing it, but that is a-okay, because we definitely have other tools we can search. 4 Arven is very important in this deck. Search for an item and a tool, reveal them, put them into hand, shuffle your deck. Crazy stuff. Think about Arven. You can actually search either one of the ACE specs that you would run in this deck, so he's very good to have. Running 2 copies of Iono. With the Unfair Stamp, I could definitely justify running 3, or potentially, I saw even some lists are running 4 Iono, which I think is a little bit bonkers, but I don't know, man. Bonkers stuff goes all the time. Playing 2 copies of Boss. This is an absolutely insane card. I could see you running 1. I can't see me running 1, though. I think 2 Boss's Orders and Dragapult is really, really strong, especially with the bench damage spread that you can have with this deck. Being able to shift something up to the active really makes it to where you can take those 2, 3, 4 prize turns, which is absolutely insane. It's crazy that this deck can even do that. Playing 2 copies of Crispin. I really love this card. It's basically an Earthen Vessel, but better. You search your deck for 2 basic energy cards of different types. Attach 1 to your Pokemon, add the other 1 to your hand. So between the Crispin and the Earthen Vessels, you have a whole lot of energy coming your way. Playing 1 copy of Jacq. Once again, when Journey Together comes out, I'm actually going to try and tuck 2 Brock into this deck instead. Jacq versus Brock. Jacq can search your deck for 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, add them to your hand. Brock can do that. Well, Brock can search 1 evolution or 2 basics, which is really, really strong because it can get you into your Dreepies. So definitely looking forward to Journey Together to bring us Brock. I think it's Brock's Ambition, maybe it's called. I don't know. It's got Brock on it, and it's a really good card. Stadium. Play 2 copies of Artazon. I don't think you can get away with playing 1. You really don't want to lose the Stadium War in this format, I think. A lot of decks are going to be running Artazon, but I still think you should run 2. If one of them gets prized, you still want to be able to search your basic Pokemon. That is another reason we don't run a bunch of Nest Balls. But moving on to the tools, I actually play 2 Rescue Board. This is one that I basically never want to prize because you want to be able to get your switches for free because your energy in this list is very, very tight. So you want to be able to get your Pokemon in and out of the active. Playing 1 copy of TM Evolution and 1 copy of Devolution. TM Evolution is really, really good. You can turn your Dreepies into Drakloaks, which is really, really strong. Devolution is absolutely busted in this deck because with your Dragapult and your Dusknoir / Dusclops, you can spread a whole lot of damage onto your opponent's bench. So if you TM Devolution, you can actually get some knockouts just by devolving them, by putting the highest stage evolution card into your opponent's hand. That is all for the main list. We play 3 Psychic Energy, play 2 Darkness Energy, and 3 Fire Energy. I've been talking a whole lot about when Brock comes out in Journey Together, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to drop 1 Darkness and 1 Jacq to be able to run the 2 Brocks. I really don't. With only 1 Munkidori, playing 2 Darkness Energy doesn't make a whole lot of sense, considering that's the only thing it's in here for, but this is what a lot of lists are running, and honestly, I have not run into problems. You just definitely notice that you don't have Lance in this deck, so you have to kind of work around different things. Again, we could be playing Lance. We have the copies right over there, but this is a post-rotation Dragapult EX deck profile, so we are not playing Lance. We are instead playing what I would consider to be... I'd say this is the best deck in the format. We'll see how the format actually shakes up, but as far as how it's looking right now, this is looking and shaping up to be the best deck you could play. And this is my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, drop a sub, all the YouTube stuff. If you guys are still here, drop a Brock down in the comments section so I know that you're still listening. In the meantime, that is all I got for you guys for this deck profile. Once again, I hope you enjoyed it. I have been Santa. You guys have been awesome, and I will see you tomorrow for more Pokemon. Bye, guys. Bye, guys.